All right, we are talking sugars and proteins. Actually, we've been talking about proteins and peptides, and then we kind of morphed into talking about sugars. Even though our main topic here is proteins, there's an important link between protein and sugar. In fact, there's an important link between protein and fats, too. All living matter is composed largely of proteins, sugars, and fats, and that includes foods. Proteins are by far the major player in the body. They're like a chassis. They're like the chassis of biological machinery, and then fats and carbs are like accessories that get attached to the chassis. Fats and proteins go together to form something called lipoproteins, as in HDL or LDL. Most folks will tell you that HDL, or most folks think that HDL and LDL are cholesterol. They're really not. They're lipoproteins. Lipo is the chemical designation for fats. Lipoproteins are little combinations of fats and proteins. They go together. Lipoproteins, fats and proteins act as shuttles, act as little carrying devices. They carry fatty substances through the blood. Lipoproteins, HDL or LDL, are like little bubbles with a protein coat on the outside and a fatty lining on the inside. And this kind of bubble-like structure with a fatty lining on the inside and protein on the outside makes these lipoproteins act like high-tech space pods that can shuttle fatty things throughout the blood. This transport system allows fatty substances to get from point A to point B on the blood highway, or waterway, I guess. These lipoproteins will shuttle vitamin E and fatty acids and cholesterol through the blood. And lipoproteins have this kind of carrying effect. There's also protein chassis that are attached to sugars. We've been talking about these substances now for a couple of days. They're called glycoprotein. Just like lipo means fat, glyco means sugar. So a lipoprotein is a fat protein combination, and a glycoprotein is a sugar protein combination. Some people will call glycoproteins proteoglycans. Either way, these are fat-sugar combinations, and they have really important health properties. These glycoproteins can help stimulate the growth of cells. They can turn on the immune system. And as we've been talking about, they're very important for trapping water and providing water with a certain organization. As it turns out, water in the body, specifically water inside cells, has an organization, has a structure to it. It's not just random sloshing about water like we see in puddles or in bodies of water like in the ocean or in rivers. The water in cells is structured. It has an organization, and this structure and organization is almost like a kind of information. In fact, the word information really means structure. Information has a certain kind of structure, and structured water is in form. It's in a certain form. It has an information kind of property. It can actually store information. It can store electrical energy. Structured water, via the structuring properties of these sugar protein molecules, actually conducts electrical energy, as we've been talking about. And these proteoglycan water combinations can magnetically attract other substances. In fact, proteoglycans can actually help clear mercury out of the body via a process called chelation. You can actually chelate heavy metals out of the body using these proteoglycan substances. We've been talking about one really important proteoglycan substance that can have these kind of clearing out effect, this detoxifying effect, in addition to a water trapping effect. It's called high hyaluronic acid. Now, technically, high hyaluronic acid is really a proteoglycan. We call it an honorary proteoglycan because it's usually associated with proteins, but really high hyaluronic acid is a kind of sugar material. And this stuff, high hyaluronic acid, can be taken as a supplement. You can get it in your bone soup. It's really important for eye health. It's important for joint health. It's important for the skin. I'm not going to rehash all of that. We've been talking about that for a few days. But one last thing I do want to say about high hyaluronic acid, and this is really one of the most interesting aspects of high hyaluronic acid, really fascinating substance, and that is its building blocks. It's two components. High hyaluronic acid is made up of two chunks, two components. One is called NAG, technically N-acetylglucosamine. We'll just call it NAG for short. and a second component called glucuronic acid. Both of these have their own benefits. So in addition to using high hyaluronic acid either in supplements or in your bone soup, in addition to using high hyaluronic acid to get all of the water trapping benefits and the skin moisturizing benefits and the eye health benefits and the joint health benefits, you can actually use high hyaluronic acid to get the benefits of these two important building blocks. NAG, N-acetylglucosamine, is really important for connective tissue, for skin health, and it's really important for the digestive tract. NAG has wonderful anti-inflammatory benefits for soothing ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, any kind of intestinal problem. You can get NAG in bone soup, or you can actually take NAG supplements, or you can get your NAG by using high hyaluronic acid supplements. The second component, the glucuronic acid component of high hyaluronic acid, man, is that important stuff. Glucuronic acid, the second component of high hyaluronic acid, is one of the most important detoxifying substances you could ever use. I'll tell you what I mean when we come back from our break. I am Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. Our number is 855-660-4261. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away. Talking about high hyaluronic acid. It's two building blocks. It's two components. One is called NAG, NAG. NAG is really important for the digestive system. NAG can also help with skin health. And then the second component of HA, high hyaluronic acid. Keep in mind now, folks, there's multiple benefits here. High hyaluronic acid on its own gives you great benefits for skin health and for detoxification, for joint health. Then the two building blocks themselves have benefits too. The NAG, and then the second component, the glucuronic acid. Glucuronic acid is one of the most important detoxification substances you could ever use. Glucuronic acid sort of mops up toxins, cleans up toxins in a process that's called glucuronidation. Glucuronic acid, glucuronidation is a kind of complicated chemical term that refers to the process where this glucuronic acid component gets stuck onto a drug or some kind of toxin. Keep in mind, prescription drugs are toxic substances. When I talk about prescription drugs being poisons and toxins and this absolute nonsense, craziness of using poisons to help heal the body, how does this even come about? Where does this logic come from of using poisonous substances to heal the body, poisonous substances for our health? When I talk about drugs being poisons, I am talking literally, not metaphorically, not poetically, not rhetorically. I'm talking literally. These things are poisonous. And the more prescription drugs you take, the more poisons your body has to deal with cleaning out. Well, fortunately, the body does have a system for cleaning out these poisons. And this system involves lots of different processes. One of the most important processes is glucuronidation. Drugs and toxins are poisonous because they have a fatty nature. The fatty nature means that they absorb in the fats in the body. And once a drug or a toxin or some kind of poison absorbs in fat, once it gets stuck in fat, it becomes sticky and it can't leave the body. This is the reason why toxins and poisons and drugs are so problematic. They stick to fat. In nature, all substances are either water-soluble or they're fat-soluble. They're either oily or they're watery. Toxins and poisons are problematic for the most part because they're oily, they're fatty. They're fatty substances that stick to fatty tissues in the body. Water-soluble substances are much less problematic. Water-soluble substances can get rinsed out of the body pretty easily. Think of food and dishes. Think of food and dishes in your sink. Think of oily and greasy substances, maybe butter or oil or peanut butter. Think of peanut butter on a plate in your dish or in your sink. Think of peanut butter sitting on a dish in your sink as opposed to something like jelly or jam. The jelly's going to rinse right off. The peanut butter, not so much. That's a kind of rough representation of the relationship between fatty and watery substances in the body. Watery substances are rinsed out easily, just like jelly or jam. Fatty substances, not so much. And that's what makes these fatty substances so problematic. To get fatty substances off your dishes or out of the body, you need to have some kind of intermediary substances that can make the peanut butter or the oils or the toxins or whatever flush out. In the case of dishes, we use soap. When you squirt dish soap on peanut butter, the soap will attach itself to the peanut butter and make that peanut butter much easier to rinse off. The soap, in essence, will make that peanut butter water soluble. Peanut butter is not water soluble, it's oil soluble, and it doesn't come off of dishes very readily, but when you squirt soap on the peanut butter becomes water soluble and it rinses right off. Well, in the case of drugs, in the case of toxins in the body has various chemicals that it can squirt on the poisons, the carcinogenic substances, the drugs, that can be thought of like soap. The body will actually squirt on soapy-like substances, intermediary chemicals that will make these fatty substances rinse out of the body, and this is one of the main mechanisms of the body's spectacular detoxification system. And guess what? Glucuronic acid can be thought of as a sort of soap for drugs and poisons. Remember, we've been talking about how water-soluble high hyaluronic acid is, how water-trapping high hyaluronic acid is. Well, its building block components are much the same way. They're very watery, and the body will attach glucuronic acid to toxins, to poisons, and then that toxin and poison will become water soluble and it can rinse right out of the body. Glucuronic acid can be thought of as a soap for poison. It can be thought of as a soap for estrogen and steroid hormones, help rinse out excess estrogen out of the body. The body will use glucuronic acid soap, if you will, to protect itself from cancer-causing substances too. Now remember, you're going to get glucuronic acid from bone soup. You're going to get high hyaluronic acid from bone soup. You can take high hyaluronic acid supplements and upregulate your glucuronic acid or glucuronidation processes, and there's foods that can do it too, especially the cruciferous vegetables. Many of the problems associated with meat, for example, are associated with these cancer-causing compounds that are sticky, and by using high hyaluronic acid supplements or by taking in foods that contain glucuronic acid with your meat, or if you're taking prescription drugs, if you use high hyaluronic acid with your prescription drugs or you use glucuronic acid containing foods with your prescription drugs, you're going to improve your body's ability to rinse out those toxins, whether they're in meat or whether they're in prescription drugs or if you're producing lots of estrogen. And smokers, by the way, should be aware that tars and nicotine can also can also become toxic, and glucuronidation can also provide benefits for tar and nicotine if you're smoking cigarettes. If you're smoking, you're on medication, you're eating lots of meat, eat your cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower. These are wonderful ways to upregulate glucuronidation. High hyaluronic acid supplements can do it too, or you can actually get a supplement called calcium D-glucarate that can also support the glucuronidation process. So high hyaluronic acid, glucuronic acid, NAG, all of these wonderful polysaccharide proteoglycan substances can have multiple benefits. They can help moisturize your skin, they can be important for joint health, and they can be important for the detoxification process as well. All right. That's all I'm going to say about high hyaluronic acid. Suffice it to say, I love this stuff. Amazing nutritional supplement. Great nutrient, if you will, that you can get in foods, bone soup, or you can use lots of cruciferous vegetables to get the building blocks. Aloe vera, noni juice can also get you some NAG. And you might even get, well, you're not going to get high hyaluronic acid in any of that stuff. High hyaluronic acid is only found in animal products. But you can get substances that are similar to high hyaluronic acid, especially in seaweed. And I'm going to talk about that seaweed when we come back from our break and some of the benefits associated with the Z-Radical product from Youngevity. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Welcome Welcome back to the bright side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Our number today, 855-660-4261. Have a line open for you. We'll get your phone call. Well, you know what? I think I'll take your phone calls right now. I was going to talk about seaweed a little bit. One of my favorite subjects. The Z-Radical product from Youngevity is loaded with fucoidan, one of the best. Just an amazing detox ingredient. It's just a multifunctional ingredient, great for skin health, great for blood health. It's an anticoagulant, help thin the blood a little bit, boost the immune system, cancer fighting. It's one of those long-chain sugars that are found in seaweed, which is perhaps the most complete and powerful food you could ever eat. I think we'll talk about that tomorrow, and then we'll continue talking about the eyes, and then hopefully we'll finish up talking about glutathione, the body's most important anti-cancer and detoxifying substance. So much to talk about here. I know I digress a lot, and we do go off on tangents quite a bit on this program, but there's so much to talk about. I think we'll do the seaweed. We'll just do seaweed tomorrow. Let's see if there's anything else. We'll do seaweed tomorrow. We'll get your phone calls right now. 855-660-4261. Paul in New York. Welcome to the bright side. What's up, my friend?
Happy New Year's, Ben.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much for calling. What's going on, bro?
Hey, I love your show, man. Your comparisons are great. Car chassis, refrigerator magnets.
You like that? Sometimes I think they're kind of awkward.
Man.
I'm trying to make it easy to understand. You know, biology seems to be so intimidating, but it really is just all about refrigerator magnets and chassis. That's really all it is. It's not
the way you explain it is easy. I've been listening to internet medical shows for 20 years, and you're the best, Ben.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Paul. How can I help you, my friend?
Hear anybody with problems, I go listen to Dr. Ben for 3 weeks. That's all it'll take.
Thank you, Paul.
Any problem you have.
Damn, wow, I like that. Except I'm not a doctor. I'm just a pharmacist.
Or
that's okay.
Pharmacist, Ben. You know what I'm saying. Hey, 2 quick questions.
Yes, sir.
You told us a couple weeks ago you were going to tell us where to get vitamin K in, all I can find it in is 100 microgram doses.
5,000 micro. You know, it seems to be a little bit difficult to find. I'll tell you what. I am going to let me think of how I could do this. You know, I'm going to run over to my nutrition cabinet here during our break, and I'll tell you. I forgot the brand that I buy. It's 5,000 micrograms of K2, and I'll tell you what that brand is right after this break when I run over to my
number
cabinet.
2.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Yes.
About a week and a half ago, older lady from Indiana called in, and you were telling her how you cooked your chicken bone soup.
Yeah.
And going through it, and at the end of it, she said, "Well, I don't have any of those stores around here. I can't get any organic stuff." And we've kind of had that problem here over the years.
Where are you?
Sometimes I have Niagara Falls, New York. We just got our first Trader Joe's last month.
Trader Joe's is not, you know, they market themselves as being kind of a health food store. They're not really. They don't really have great.
I know, but we don't have a Whole Foods anywhere around here.
No? How far are you from Buffalo?
New York.
Are you near Buffalo?
20 miles. There's nothing in Western New York. Whole Foods.
Wow.
We don't have them. In some places, you can't get this stuff. So
you know, there's more bars. You know, there's more bars per capita in upstate New York than there is any other place in the country, though.
Yeah, and I've been in every one of them.
I can say that. I can imagine that. I'm sorry. I used to live in Syracuse, by the way. God awful place. Oh my God, I hated living in Syracuse.
We're getting snow here right now, Ben. You'd love it.
Oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not there anymore.
Hey, I went up on Google and typed in organic chicken feet.
Okay.
I found 4 different places that have all sorts of organic bones.
Really?
Knuckles.
No kidding. And that stuff's great. That stuff is great. All that stuff that people, you know, kind of waste products from animals that's where all the cartilage is. That's where all that high hyaluronic acid.
Bones.
That's awesome. Awesome. And you they'll ship it to you?
They'll ship it to you.
That is awesome.
They ship it in boxes with dry ice.
Wow.
You know, the shipping is pretty expensive, but you can get 2 pounds of chicken feet for $5.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I had no idea about that. And you just Googled organic chicken feet?
Yeah, and there's 3 or 4 different farms that do this for a living.
Thank you.
And they've been doing, you know, they know what they're doing.
That is
on
great.
One of these sites, they're selling grass-fed pancreas.
Really? How
I never
interesting.
heard of this.
I never did either. Organic, though, right?
Well, grass-fed. When you're
That's not
dealing
the same.
with the beef, there all these places are calling. They'll have organic chickens on part of their site, but the beef they're calling or grass-fed.
It's not quite the same. It's not quite the same. I mean, it's still better than grain-fed, but especially your pancreas.
I can give you the name of one of these.
What? Sure. Why don't you give it out?
White Oak Pastures, and he's got some videos up there about how he raises his cows, and he raises his own organic feed.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Paul. I appreciate that. White Oak Pastures, and then if you just Google organic chicken feet.
Yeah,
I had no idea about that.
Organic chicken feet, and these people, you wouldn't believe what they got. Tendons, beef tendons.
That is great. That's great.
And one of them, it wasn't that place, has actual chicken broth that they make, and they will ship out to you, organic chicken broth, and it's 16 ounces concentrated for $7 per package.
Isn't that amazing? Wow, that is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Paul. I appreciate it very much, and thank you for the kind words. God bless. Have a beautiful, wonderful, blessed 2014. Thanks for the call. Okay, bro?
Ben.
Take care, man. All right, that was some good information. I like that. So just Google organic chicken feet or White Oaks Farms, I guess is what Paul said. Thank you for that, Paul. Appreciate it. Brian in Texas, welcome to the Bright Side. What's up, my man?
Hello, is it me?
Hello. Hey, Brian, what's up?
Oh, hi. I had a bad ankle fracture last April.
Ooh.
The left tibial pylon fracture. And,
What'd you do? What were you doing?
I got hit by a car. My foot got run over by the wheel.
Ooh, ouch. How you doing?
Well, clinically, I'm doing excellent. I'm able to walk on it pretty well. I've got 3 plates that we were going to take out, but at the last minute, the surgeon noticed that the malleolus bones had yet to heal completely. Those knobby bones on the sides of the ankle.
Okay, now you want some help with that?
Yes, I've been taking a galaxy of supplements.
Okay.
And, I want to know about electrical stimulation.
Okay, well, TENS, electrical stimulation is great. The TENS unit, are you talking about? Transepidermal?
I don't know enough about this. I was going to ask which ones that you would recommend.
There's a unit called a TENS unit. I forgot what it stands for. TENS, TENS unit. Transdermal electrical neural stimulation, I think is what it stands for. In any case, it's a little jolt of electricity that you can now buy these TENS units over the counter. It used to be you'd have to go to a chiropractor or a doctor, an orthopedic guy, and he would attach these electrodes to the bone, and then they send little jolts of electricity, and that would stimulate the healing of bone. But you can actually buy these TENS units now over the counter. They're $200 or $300, but they're well worth it for accelerating the healing process. You can also use electrical stimulating nutrients, and I'm just going to tell you a bunch of nutritional supplements that you can use, or nutritional strategies that you can use for bone building. Probably the most important is to stay away from any pro-inflammatory foods. That means sugar and refined carbohydrates and processed foods, all of which are pro-inflammatory. Processed fats are especially pro-inflammatory. You always want to stay away from anything that's going to increase inflammation, any foods that are going to increase inflammation. You always want to do that, but especially if you're healing, especially for bone healing. And so staying away from trans fats, processed fats, etc., and sugars is very, very important. And then there's some great nutritional supplements for accelerating the healing of bone and connective tissue. Hang tight, Brian. I'll tell you what those are when we come back from our break. I am Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We will be back with more good health information right after this.
Free from the shackles of corporate America, we're the place for independent thinkers. GCN.
Welcome back to The Bright Side. We are talking to Brian in Texas. Brian, you there, my man?
Yes.
All right, a couple things. First of all, stay away from anything pro-inflammatory, processed fats and processed sugars, refined carbohydrates. Those are your most inflammatory kinds of foods. And then there's great nutritional supplements for building bone, for helping heal bone. And anything that you do to help heal bone and repair bone is also going to help you for your skin, and it's going to help you for your joints, and probably help you for your immune system as well. They're all related. And I don't want to say the most important, but one of the most important things you could do is make sure you're eating more protein, especially whey protein, to a certain extent soy protein, if you can handle it, can also be helpful for stimulating the growth of new tissue. Essential fatty acids are unspeakably important for helping build bone and connective tissue and protein in general. Sometimes we don't realize how important essential fatty acids are for the building process. Omega-6s and omega-3s, both of them, get on your ultimate EFAs. If you have any problems with your digestive system, any problems absorbing fats or absorbing protein for that matter, digestive enzymes can be helpful. And of course, if you take digestive enzymes, as we've said many times in this program, if you take them on an empty stomach, that can also help with the inflammatory process. Digestive enzymes can also help dissolve scar tissue. Sulfur is very important for bone health. Get yourself on some MSM sulfur, 3 grams, 2 to 3 grams a day is a good place to be. And always use vitamin C with your sulfur. Vitamin C, of course, is also important on its own for bone. About 1,000 milligrams to 2,000 milligrams a day of vitamin C is good. You can take more than that, of course. Beyond Tangy Tangerine is a really, really neat source of vitamin C. In fact, Beyond Tangy Tangerine is a neat source of the B complex also, which is very important for helping stimulate tissue growth. Using the BTT all day long is a great idea. I'd also be using a zinc picolinate. Zinc is important for bone health, 50 milligrams a day of zinc. And then, of course, hyaluronic acid, as we've been talking about here earlier, is a very important component of connective tissue. Bone is connective tissue. So using hyaluronic acid supplements can help you, 100 milligrams to 200 milligrams a day. And then also, we haven't talked a lot about liquid silica gel, but silica is really important for the development of, for helping bones mineralize themselves, helping bones attract minerals. And you can get something called liquid silica gel, do 2 to 3 tablespoonfuls a day. Of course, calcium is important, as is magnesium for bone health. Calcium, magnesium supplements. You can get your calcium and magnesium in the Osteo-Cal product or the OsteoFX product, and that's all found in the Healthy Start Pack for longevity. Last but not least, vitamin D and vitamin K are also important. They help improve calcification of bone tissue. And then one last thing you might want to consider is weight-bearing exercises. I'm sure your doctor, your orthopedic guy has probably told you about weight-bearing exercises for helping build bone. That's probably a good idea as well. You're probably doing that if you're in physical therapy. Hope that works out for you. Brian, anything else? Anything else going on? Does that help you?
Oh, it sure does. I'm doing absolutely every bit of that except for the silica gel.
Get yourself on liquid silica gel. You know what? If you send me an email, ben@ksco.com, I'll send you a list of good bone-building supplements. Some of the ones I just talked about. Ben at ksco.com. K, King, S, Sam, C, Cat, O, Oscar. And make sure you put on there bone-building nutrition or bone-building supplements, because I get so many darn emails, and it's very easy for me to miss them. Very easy for me to miss your email. All right, Brian, got to move on. Thank you so much for your call, bro. Good luck. All right, Rebecca in New York. What is going on? Welcome to the bright side.
Hi, Bon. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. What's cooking?
Well, I'm hoping you can help settle a little household discussion I've been having lately.
Sure.
I see a big push on nascent iodine, and a lot of people are saying how important it is to be taking that. However, I have hypothyroidism, and I take levothyroxine for it.
Okay.
My concern is, would it be harmful for me to be taking iodine on top of that? I've had hypothyroidism since my second daughter was born.
Okay, your hypothyroidism is not an iodine issue. It's not a synthroid issue. That's first of all. Iodine is important just because it's a supplement. It's an essential nutrient. Remember, the word essential means you have to have it. That means there's no option here. Without iodine, you're dead. Okay, now, you're always going to get a little bit of iodine, so it's not like people die from not taking a supplement, but the fact is, it's essential. Your body needs iodine, period. Now, Synthroid, your body doesn't need. In fact, Synthroid is not something that's very friendly to the body. It's an artificial, fake pharmaceutical hormone. And it's just a crazy medical strategy. Hypothyroidism is a chemical issue. It means something's wrong in your biochemistry. It's not really even a thyroid issue. It's a metabolic biochemical issue. Something is messed up. So they give you Synthroid to kind of force the thyroid to work, to kind of artificially jack up its chemistry. But that's not the way you want to deal with a hypothyroid issue, especially, it came after you were pregnant, or after you had a baby, so obviously something changed in your biochemistry that messed up your thyroid. Now, iodine it's not like it's medicine for the thyroid as much as it's an essential nutrient for the body. It's important for breast health. It helps protect you from cancer. It's important for the adrenal glands. It's important for everything really in the body. So you need iodine. Now you'll get some in seafood, and you'll get some in iodized salt, and you'll get some in your diet, but why mess around with having to worry about, am I getting enough iodine? Just get on a supplement. It's non-toxic. It's not going to hurt you, and it's just going to be like an insurance policy guaranteeing that you're getting enough iodine. It may help your thyroid a little bit, but what you want to be looking at, Rebecca, is what is wrong with my thyroid and how can I fix it? How can I fix my chemistry? You'll always find behind hypothyroidism, you have some kind of adrenal stress. Remember, your adrenal glands are your stress management glands. When we say stress, I'm not just talking mental stress or emotional stress. I'm talking physiologic stress. Something is getting into your body that's causing a stress response, and your adrenal glands are bearing the brunt of that. Where do things get into the body? How do things get into the body that put a burden on the adrenal glands or stress out the adrenal glands? Food, food, food. Digestion, digestion, digestion. Rebecca, 100% guarantee. I'm not psychic. I'm not a wizard. I'm not a magic man. I'm going to tell you, I've never met you before. I'm just talking to you for the first time on the phone. Guaranteed, 100%. You got some kind of digestive condition, okay?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Now, you probably had it a long time, but after you had a baby, it just pushed you over the top. So the first thing you need to do is start to work on your digestive system, especially around fat absorption. And that means using digestive enzymes with fatty foods, breaking up fatty foods, and grinding them up, or making soups, making smoothies or soups. If you're eating a lot of fatty foods, making sure you're using lipase with your fatty foods. That's a digestive enzyme for fats. Making sure you're using apple cider vinegar with your fats. Making sure you're taking additional fat-soluble vitamins, vitamins A and D and E and K, all of which, by the way, may help with your thyroid as well. Minerals require fat absorption. If you have any issues with the digestive system, that's going to put a burden on the adrenal glands, which will ultimately show up as some kind of hypothyroid issue. Deep breathing is wonderful for the adrenal glands. Salt, Celtic sea salt, wonderful for the adrenal glands. All of these will help with your adrenals, which will then help with your thyroid. Correcting digestive problems, and then blood sugar, stabilizing the blood sugar. You notice I haven't said anything about working directly with the thyroid here. We're talking digestion, we're talking adrenals, we're talking blood sugar, we're talking fat absorption, and all of that will then help your body work more efficiently and will take the load off of the thyroid. So you got wonderful ways to work here, none of which involve your doctor, none of which involve prescription drugs. Iodine is still important, nascent iodine. I like nascent iodine the best, but you can also get iodine in seaweed and seafood products, etc. Even iodized salt will get you a little bit of iodine, albeit it may be the wrong kind of iodine, maybe not an absorbable kind of iodine like nascent iodine. In any case, iodine is very important, but not so much as a medicine for the thyroid as it is for the entire biochemical system. But focus on the digestive system, focus on blood sugar, focus on adrenal health. That's my recommendation for all hypothyroid issues. Does that help you, ma'am?
Oh, it does.
And also last thing is probiotics for the digestive system, too. In fact, probiotics are really unbelievably important. You cannot make thyroid hormone without having a healthy digestive tract. Thyroid hormone is actually activated into its powerful form, its T3 form. That's the active form of thyroxine, or the thyroid hormone. It's activated in the digestive tract and in the intestine, by bacteria in the intestine for that matter. So any doctor who doesn't take care of your digestive system, or tell you to take care of your digestive system, address probiotics for the thyroid, doesn't understand how the thyroid works, or doesn't understand how thyroid hormone works. All right, I hope that's kind of a long-winded answer. I hope I helped you out, Rebecca. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for calling. If I left you on hold, I apologize for that. Call back tomorrow. Tell our call screener you were left on hold, and we'll get you first up. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You've been listening to The Bright Side. Our number, the number for the Bright Side Ben phone team, I should say, is 866-735-2470 if you want to sign up and join the Bright Side Ben team. We'll talk to you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful, beautiful, spectacular day. Bye for now.